Hello, beautiful collectives out there. Welcome to my channel, Astro Cheryl. And this is your monthly forecast for November 2025. Okay, we're already at the end of the year, but we're still in Scorpio season, and there's a lot of Scorpio energy out there. So there's a lot of reveal. You know, Scorpio is mysterious, but the revealing of the false truths are coming out in the open. So just be aware that, you know, the untruths, the lies, the underhanded hate is showing up. And that way, that energy can be dealt with. We have a full moon that's coming up on the 5th, and it's a super full moon, and it's in the sign of Taurus. And Taurus is about agriculture and about finances. But here in the U.S., we can see the breakdown of our governmental system and the those people who are in need of extra help for food and subsidy. So that is opening up and crumbling out into the open. But then on a personal note, those who are those people who have been deceitful, deceiving, and out to hide their feelings towards another person is coming out in the open. Okay, and that energy that's coming out has to be dealt with. Okay, so that's the purpose of it being shown. That's why the veil is thin now, so that each individual can see what it is that you're doing and what it is that has been done to you. Now, those people who have been done to, you'll get to see how this karmic energy plays out, because all of that negative energy that has been thrown at you by, you know, people you don't know, is being returned to sender. Okay, and it's once it's returned to its sender, it has to be dealt with. Okay, so anyway, as I said before, this is your monthly reading for November. Now, as we get into the month, we have Mars entering Sagittarius on the 4th. And we have that super full moon on the 5th. And Venus moves into Scorpio on the 6th. Uranus is retrograding back to Taurus at that 29 degrees on the 7th. And Mercury turns retrograde in Sagittarius on the 9th. Jupiter turns retrograde in Cancer on the 11th. Mercury turns retrograde, I just said that. The new moon in Scorpio is at 28 degrees, and that's on the 19th. And Saturn in Pisces is stationing direct on the 27th, and then Mercury turns direct on the 29th. So with all of the retrogrades that are happening now, this is turning you inward to look at those areas in your life that needs to be refurbished or cleansed, I will say. Okay, Now, a lot of you may not be ready to face your fears because that's exactly what's happening in this Scorpio energy. It's a lot of fear-based energy that is showing up. But when you face your fears and you deal with what it is that's coming up for you, then over time, you'll be able to take a step up in your vibration. So, with all of this energy happening, especially with Uranus, it is like an electric energy where things happen all of a sudden. But while it's in retrograde, it won't act as fast as it would normally act if it was in its forward motion. So I just want to say that those people who are out there who are trying to hurt, cause pain, trauma to another person, all of that is coming back to you. And a lot of times people cannot take what they dish out. They can't handle it. So are you ready to handle what you are dishing out? That is up to you. And now it's time for me to get into the forecast for the month. So I will see you on the other side. Hello, beautiful collectives out there. Welcome to my channel, Astro. And this is Virgo Rising Forecast for November 2025. Let's get into it. Okay, on the 3rd of November, we have Mars in Scorpio in a trine to retrograde Neptune in the sign of Pisces. And this is happening in your 3rd house of communication, your local neighborhood, and your siblings and friends. Okay? And this trine is it's like a gift from God. So it's nothing that you really have to do, but just experience the time that you have with it. It's also an aspect in your 7th house, which is the house of one-on-one relationships, partnerships, business partners, legal contracts, and, family and friends as well. Okay, so we have this trine between the 3rd and 7th house. This transit is encouraging you to motivate, to be more motivated, or you are naturally motivated because of this trine. So you are, exploring into your deep emotional and intellectual truths, because Scorpio and Mars rules Scorpio. So they work well together. But it's always this deep, penetrating energy when it comes to Scorpio. And truths are always a part of the Scorpio experience. Okay, so your deep emotional or intellectual truths in communication, which represents your 3rd house, combined with an idealistic, which is Neptune and Pisces. And Neptune and Pisces, they work well together as well. Spiritually tuned approach to your partnership. That's what you have right now. So you're tapping in on your spiritual side of yourself and connecting with your partners in that manner. And it's usually a compassionate and sensitive energy. And of course, you want to get down to the truth as well. Okay, then this transit encourages assertive, compassionate interactions and the potential for inspiring creative connections with others. Okay? So on the 4th, we have Mars moving out of Scorpio and into Sagittarius. And this is happening in your house, 4th house of home. Okay? This is about your physical place. This is your most private area. This is a place where, you want to feel secure and safe. Okay? So with this, you may dislike feeling confined because Sagittarius is here. And Sagittarius is freedom loving, enthusiastic, optimistic, and higher minded as well. Let's see, what am I saying? And you could experience a desire to make frequent changes or travel, incorporating experiences from different cultures because, yeah, Sagittarius represents long distance travel, other cultures as well, because it's ruled by Jupiter. You may invest your time in home your time in home improvements, because it's the 4th house, or explore family roots and your heritage. Beware of your impulsiveness or impatience with others, because that's Sagittarius. Sagittarius, is a fire energy, and it likes to be moving. It doesn't really settle. It enjoys exploring new ideas, new opportunities, and also movement is important. Okay, on that same day, we have an opposition with Mars in Sagittarius, and it opposes retrograde Uranus in Gemini, and this is happening in your 4th house of home and security, your private space, and your public space of career in your 10th house. Okay, now oppositions are about growth periods. Okay, this is a place where the push and pull happens here, but the point of the push and pull is for you to learn and integrate these energies and grow from, because the more you grow, you rise, and you become wiser. Okay, so sometimes these oppositions, depending on the degrees in which you have in your chart and the degrees that this opposition is happening at, is going to determine the intensity, if you're going to really feel it or if you're not really feeling it. Okay, so this is what is happening for your higher growth. So you may experience conflict or tension between the need for personal freedom and exploration within the private sphere and the unconventional. Unpredictable energies in the public or professional domain is possible, and you may experience a struggle to balance home with sudden disruptions or rebellious impulses impacting your career or public image. Okay? You may be rethinking or revisiting past patterns regarding authority and freedom in your external world. Okay? So because this is happening in your public reputation, your career space, and your private life, you may be putting too much over here and not enough over here. And the point is to create some type of balance. Okay? So on the 5th, Virgo rising, we have a full moon in Taurus, and this is happening in your ninth house of of higher learning, spirituality, philosophy, religion, other cultures, long distance travel, teaching, your belief systems, and publishing as well. Okay, and it's in the sign of Taurus, which is a fixed sign, and Taurus is stable, steadfast, doesn't like to make changes, but this full moon is all about releasing things that are no longer serving you, okay? So it encourages releasing outdated beliefs and outdated ideas and prompting you to evaluate your relationship to adventure, because this is the ninth house, spirituality and higher learning. Okay, so take a pause, and for the most part, let go of the beliefs and those ideas that was planted in your unconscious without you even knowing that it was there. So just allowing yourself to release without having to, stress, want this gone, I want that gone. Just allow your body to release what no longer serves you. Okay? So on that same day, or no, let's see, on the 6th, we have Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. And it's trining, and trines are, gifts. It's trining retrograde Saturn in the sign of Pisces. And this is happening in your 11th house of associations, memberships, large group connections, and your hopes, wishes, dreams, and luck. Okay? So this is where you have a large group of people who may be there to help you make changes in your life in some area, okay? And this trine is with the 7th house of relationships, one-on-ones, which we've already discussed previously. So this energy is supported of expansive social aspirations with mature, disciplined, and spiritual partnership growth. Now, when we talk about expanses, we're talking about Jupiter. Jupiter expands anything when it's there, close to it, okay? And then, partnerships are about your 7th house energies. So this transit facilitates constructive growth, grounded in responsibility. That is Saturn, keeping you grounded and focused. Emotional wisdom and collective harmony. It's a time to build stable, supported social networks and partnerships that nurture long-term goals with practical realism, Saturn, and emotional depth. Okay, that is Pisces. Now, on that same day, we have Venus in the sign of Scorpio making a square to Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. And this is happening in your 3rd house of communication, siblings, and your 11th house of large group and social circles, okay? Now, again, with Scorpio, we always have that intense investigative energy. And something else I wanted to say, but we'll get into it. So this aspect suggests tension between your personal, intense communications and the expansive protective energy of your social networks. So expansive is Jupiter, and protective is the Cancer energy. So you could be, acting as, motherly type to your friendship zones. So this transit can create an inflation of desire or emotions, okay? Making it challenging to balance intimate interactions with your broader social connections. So that is the square. It creates tension. And again, this is a learning experience. When you have oppositions and squares, they are meant for you to learn and grow from, okay? So this is making it challenging to balance intimate interactions with broader social connections. As I said, it may bring moments of emotional turbulence or misunderstandings in your relationships or in your social connections due to the conflicting need for deep emotional control and generous optimism. Okay, the emotional control is Scorpio. All right. And the expansive, generous optimism is Jupiter. Okay. So let's move on to the 7th. We have Uranus retrograde back to Taurus, and this is happening in your 9th house of higher education and your belief systems. Okay. You are invited to review and revise how communication and relationships function within your family or living. No, I apologize. I'm doing the 9th. Let me go back. This transit signifies a time of reevaluation and change in your beliefs, your philosophy, and your approach to higher education, travel, and spiritual or cultural views. Okay, this is a time to slow things down and reflect, because when we're in a retrograde, we are advised to reflect and revise instead of moving forward on things. It challenges your relationship with stability and deeply held values, pushing you to question your worldview and attitude towards material security and tradition. Okay, because Uranus is about a break free, shake up energy, that it wants you to have freedom, and in the process, by it being a sudden shakeup, you're not always prepared, but it is for your higher good. Okay, so now let's move on to the 9th, where we have Mercury retrograde. And we have quite a few retrogrades this month. Jupiter is going to be in retrograde, Uranus is in retrograde, Mercury is in retrograde, and Neptune and Saturn are all retrograde. Okay, so this is a month where we're doing a lot of revisiting and reflecting. So again, on the 9th, Mercury retrogrades in the sign of Sagittarius, and this is happening in your 4th house of home security, your private area. You are invited to review and revise how communication and relationships function within your family or living space. You may be considering re-evaluating the physical environment of your home, letting go of what no longer serves you, and refresh your space to bring more vitality and warmth in. And that's all about the Sagittarius energy. It's highly optimistic. So on the 11th, we have Jupiter turning retrograde in the sign of Cancer. And this is happening in your 11th house of large groups, your social connections, and your hopes, wishes, and luck as well. So this is a time for introspection, reflecting within, introspective evaluation of your social networks. okay, and your hopes and dreams. It invites a deeper look at the authenticity of friendships and may challenge the native to work, which is you, to work harder for social rewards and community support. You may have a more protective, caring approach towards your friendships and long-term goals right now. So this is happening on 11/11, and that's like a sacred number here. So something special about that day is occurring for all of us. On the 19th, we have the new moon, and it's in the sign of Scorpio. And this is happening in your third house of communication, okay? And your siblings, your local neighborhood, short-term travel as well. So this new moon supports uncovering hidden truths, confronting your fears, because this is all Scorpio energy, reclaiming your personal power in the way you express yourself and process your information. You may experience emotionally charged conversations or encounters that may lead to powerful revelations and emotional healing. Trips or movement within your local area could be significant, enriching your perspective as well. Okay, so on the 22nd, we have the sun entering Sagittarius, and this is in your fourth house as well. So during this transit, you may engage in deep introspection and reflection about your past roots and domestic environment. You are urged to process your memories in an honest fashion, seek emotional clarity, and address unresolved issues related to your upbringing or parental influences. You may be contemplating doing some home improvement or considering changes in your living situation. Now, within this energy, I think I spoke to your ninth house, about letting go of things that are no longer serving you. And this is where, your unconscious energy lies here in your fourth house as well as your 12th house and your 8th house. But here, because this is your private sector and it affects your roots, okay, this is some of the energy that you may want to release. Okay, on the 27th, we have Saturn stationing direct, and this is in the sign of Pisces, and it's happening in your 7th house. And of course, Saturn is structured. It restricts, and it wants things done methodically. So this is in your relationship sector. So this transit may feel isolated or challenging at times. It sheds illusions and requires facing deeper emotional and spiritual truths about your partnerships. And this is part of the Pisces energy, having that spiritual tone and that deep connection, with your spiritual side. This influence can affect contracts, marriages, and business partnerships as well. It's also a time that calls for patience, that's Saturn, discipline, Saturn, realistic boundaries, Saturn and Pisces, because Pisces have a tendency to be boundless, and Saturn comes in to fix that, okay? So realistically, your boundaries in your relationships. Your sensitivity and vulnerability may be a strain on your mental well-being at this time. Okay? So the last thing we'll talk about is on the 29th when Mercury stations direct in the sign of Scorpio. So during this time, you may communicate with emotional intensity and prefer meaningful conversations over superficial talk, okay? Because Scorpio digs deep. You know, it's intense, it wants the truth, and it wants to know, all about you, or, wants to get in there. It's investigative. It can also affect the relationships with siblings or close community, bring depth and sometimes intensities to those connections, because not everybody want to be probed like Scorpio can do. Okay, so Virgo rising, this is your forecast for the month of November 2025. And until next time, bye for now.